This is gonna be a silly one. Happy Halloween, first of all. In April, I'm sitting on my floor, obviously, and it's just been. I've just had a rough bout, a rough go of it, and I've been thinking a lot about love and what it means to love somebody or something. And I think that we all can kind of have our own definitions of that. But I have been reading, so I just finished, like I was talking about the other day, Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, which was so good, and I was really not, I know Vonnegut is lauded as one of the great American authors, but I had never read him before, and I didn't know what to expect at all, and Cat's Cradle was just so weird and wacky in like all the ways that I wanted, and I think Vonnegut has such a singular voice, and I'm excited to read more of his stuff, and just like, someone who like has something to say and just fucking says it, and he strikes me as an author who wasn't worried about doing like how he was gonna fit into the zeitgeist and like doing things the way that other people had. It just seemed like he had something that he wanted to say and the way he wanted to say it, and he just did it, and that's kind of something that really inspires me and a feeling that I'm trying to chase. So I had such a great time with that. But as I've talked about before, John Steinbeck I practically worship him. He is one of my favorite authors. I think it's probably a tie between him and Sally Rooney, which I guess, the differentiation there is that Rooney is writing currently. She's a contemporary, whereas Steinbeck is classic. So I kind of have that distinction. But wow, so I've only read prior Of Mice and Men, Grapes of Wrath, and East of Eden. And East of Eden is, I now call it my favorite novel of all time. I have a quote from it on my arm right here, immortalized forever as a tattoo. And there's just something about it that like really, its sense of morality really grounds me and is very, very important to me. But I had yet to read any other Steinbeck. And so my best friend went to the bookstore and found me some vintage copies of Steinbeck. So this one was, I think this is the second edition. It was printed in 1961. I really love books. Obviously, it's like in a lot of ways like half of my whole thing, the other half being like video games. Anyway, that's another story. But I'm like very much back in the literary world right now. That's just like what's feeding my soul. So, but this copy is just really cool, and it's old, and I'm trying to be really gentle with it and take good care of it, but I'm also annotating it, which, oh man, and I found a little note in it that someone said like, "Happy Easter, I love you so much," to her sister, which was really sweet. And there's like a little picture taped on the inside. I don't know if that's from the book, or it feels like it's secondary, like someone taped it in there. And look, you can see the yellowing on the cover and the pages. Anyway, I love old books. But I've just been reading this, like I started it yesterday, I think. And I haven't had a ton of time to read. I've been working. I'm currently 44 pages into this book. And like I said, 2 books ago, I just read Song of Achilles. And that book really felt like a chore for me to read. Again, I'm sorry to the people who like it. But the reason I bring it up again, I think, is because it felt like, for a book that was nearly 500 pages and, kind of covers what on paper would be these really big topics like war and legacy and being in love with someone and fate and, what does it mean to sort of, do we have free will, or are things sort of predestined for us or whatever? For a book that had all of those things, it really didn't have a lot to say. I think. And that was really frustrating to me of like, what is the dilemma? What is the point of view? It just kind of felt like a scenario where we got the Achilles and Patroclus love story as opposed to like having something to say. And I know I'm very particular about how I like art and how I want art to be, but I do think like the novel as a form, the dramatic question, and, you know, being able to say something about, you know, your subject matter, I think is a really big part of what a novel is, in a very traditional sense. And I think a lot of novels now are focused very much, especially with like pop literature, it's all about tropes. It's all about telling people up front what they're going to get and delivering on that, as opposed to like really challenging people and presenting new ideas. And so I rag on modern literature to continue being a classics truther, with a book like The Winter of Our Discontent, which again, I'm only 44 pages into. You can see how much progress that is. But what has bowled me over, as I've only gotten this far, and what was nearly bringing me to tears sitting here reading it, is that every thought is so piercing and poignant and true. And I don't know what it is about Steinbeck's work that just speaks to me so clearly and so directly and just alights something in me. But like this one passage I just underlined in this book, he's talking about, the narrator protagonist is talking about walking through town, this town that he lives in, this like quaint northeastern town in the middle of the night, and everything's covered in snow. And it says, the streetlights made the hard white frost on the lawns and sidewalks glint like millions of tiny diamonds. Such a frost takes a footprint, and there were none ahead. And this is the part that I underlined. I have always, from the time I was a child, felt a curious excitement walking in the new unmarked snow or frost. It is like being first in a new world. A deep, satisfying sense of discovery of something clean and new, unused, undirtied. And I found that so moving because just that sense of wonder and that sense of like just being able to imagine him walking through town in the middle of the night and the atmosphere and like looking at the world, not just, oh, I'm trudging through the snow or not thinking about it at all, but like being able to look at it and see such a beauty in that. And I don't know, like just the way that Steinbeck uses words, like he's talking about on the page prior, page 43 in whatever copy this is, he's talking about his wife that he met, and he says, I got her in Boston. And I know that evokes, sorry, I'm getting a little excited. I know that evokes a sense of ownership and that maybe is like problematic or whatever, but I don't know. Oh, and two, again, when I was rereading East of Eden over the summer, the way that he like captures the essence of people, Steinbeck is like, it truly, I find it so moving. And he did it again on this page where he's talking about his wife. And he's talking about, she has not wavered, not in the transplanting from Boston Irish tendency to the old Holloway house on Elm Street. And she never wavered in the slow despondency of my failing business, in the birth of our children, or in the paralysis of my long clerkship. She is a waiter. I can see that now. And I guess that she had at lengthly last grown weary of waiting. Never before had the iron of her wishes showed through, for my Mary is no mocker, and contempt is not her tool. She has been too busy making the best of too many situations. And it's such a short that's such a short description. It's only a few sentences, but it's told me so much about who this character is, what she believes, you know, the way that she's altered her life or kept her life the same for the sake of her husband. She's patient, she's a waiter, and she's not contemptuous, she's not unkind, that's not who she is. And you can imagine this whole sense of what their relationship is and has been over time just based on a few sentences. And I'm like, so you have that, and then we go back into this description of this character walking around the town, and you get him talking about the snow, and he's talking about the fishing community and how everybody has their own theories of how to catch fish the best, and they all have their, like, there's such a richness to this text, so much detail. And again, I know that I have a very specific proclivity for whatever exact style that Steinbeck has, but to me there's something so true about it and so striking and just so beautiful. And so I'm really excited to see how this book progresses. I can't talk tonight. Progresses, and how it continues. And I just really I don't know, I was like almost crying, just because again, I get in these valleys, just with like my mental health, and I'm so passionate about the things that I'm passionate about, clearly, and being able to engage with them. This is a reminder, I think, of like how fucking happy this stuff makes me, and why it's important to me, and why I need to keep doing it. And yeah, the more I engage with literature, the more it makes me want to write, and I think makes me have a better idea of what kind of writer I want to be. So I was talking the other night about like the trajectory of my life and how I kind of feel that's going. And I'm kind of at a place right now where I feel really good, I think, about that trajectory. And I know that's not in a real traditional sense. I don't own a home. I'm not married or in a serious relationship. I'm not planning on having kids anytime soon, or maybe ever. And I know those are very traditional milestones for a lot of people, but every day because I have no other obligations other than working and making my rent and bills that I need to pay, like, I get to spend my time fucking reading and trying to write and engaging with my craft. And like, that to me is the life that I want, truly, more than anything. And I think if I didn't get to have that life, I would be a pretty unhappy person. So, I mean, look, not that I'm the best and happiest and healthiest I've ever been. I'm getting there. But anyway, this is just, it's so silly to have found something so simple, but like, this is really all I need to be happy, I feel. Oh. Sorry, that's a really real moment I just caught myself in. I remember like very drunkenly a couple years ago when I just moved back from California and I'd been through a lot and I was just feeling a lot. I like was so drunk and I was crying to a friend and I was like, I don't think I'm the kind of person who will ever get to be happy. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's a daily struggle. It really is. But yeah, we're getting there. We're figuring it out. Anyway, I love John Steinbeck. And to me, I guess that just means like getting to sit and appreciate it when I read it and not just breeze through it because it's just another book I want to read, like really savoring this. And I guess my point too is that like, whoever you are, whatever your deal is, like if anyone's watching this, I really hope that you can find the things that make you feel this way. Because it's just an anchor point, you know, like the things that light us up and make us just like thrill us, you know. Everybody's so obsessed with being so like not cringe and nonchalant, and I think that's so fucking lame. So anyway, I don't know if I'm gonna post this one. This was a little discombobulated, but yeah, I'll let you know what I think of the rest of the winter of our discontent. But if my theory is correct, I'm gonna fucking love it and it's gonna make me cry a lot. So anyway, have a good night or day or whatever it is for you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.